Hi, my name is Blair Giles, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a pie crust out of almonds and dates that you can use instead of a traditional pie crust. And as we all know, traditional pie crusts are usually made with flour and either butter, shortening, or oil. So there's a couple advantages to using the almond and date pie crust. And number one, the almond and dates has a much better type of fat than traditional pie crusts. So butter is a saturated fat, and saturated fat is going to take bad cholesterol up. Shortening is a trans fat, and trans fat is going to take your bad cholesterol up and good cholesterol down. So this is the worst type of fat. And then just any type of oil that's used in a traditional crust. It's usually a lot of oil that's used, so it means there's a lot of fat in the crust. The second advantage to using the almonds and dates crust is that there's no gluten. So there's no flour at all in the pie crust, which is really good for people with gluten sensitivities or allergies. So if we break down the ingredients a little bit more, and really simple ingredients, number one, we've got the dates. So here I've got some chopped dates. They're coated with a little bit of oat flour, but again, oats are traditionally gluten-free unless they're processed in a plant that uses wheat products. And the dates are going to look like this in the full form. So you can use whole dates. It's just a little bit easier to work with dates that have already been chopped. So again, if you were going to use the whole date, you would just need to chop it into this finer form. Dates are a great source of good carbohydrates. They contain a lot of fiber, which is great for heart disease, controlling heart disease. And they're also a great source of potassium, which is really good for controlling blood pressure. So what we're going to do is we're basically just going to take the dates and put them in a blender with a little bit of water and blend them until they make almost a paste. So you'll see I'm going to take and kind of pull this out with my finger a little bit, but it's a little bit, just a little bit gooey. It's going to be really, really easy to work with. And then next we have the almonds. So almonds are a great source of monounsaturated fat. And monounsaturated fat is one of the best fats out there because it's going to do exactly the opposite of the bad trans fats. So it's going to take good cholesterol up and bad cholesterol down. Almonds are also a great source of vitamin E. And vitamin E is something that we really, don't get a lot of in our diet. So really good source there. And then also fiber. So basically what we're going to do with the almonds is also either put them in a food processor or a blender and grind them until they're fine. So this is almost, like a powder or a flour consistency here, so really light in texture. You could also use almond meal, which a lot of times you can find in the store, to take out this step of the blending or the food processing. So once we have our two ingredients, basically all we're going to do is mix them together. And I use my hands because it's easiest, so just make sure that you've washed your hands and that you have a really clean surface to work with. But again, we're just going to mix the two things, so go ahead and get your hands in there. For those of you that have ever tried a Lara bar or a Cliff Nectar bar, this is the base of those bars, basically dates and either almonds, walnuts, or another type of nut. So it's pretty much made in this same fashion, and then other ingredients are added. So you could always be creative and make your own bar at home. So again, just work with this kind of like it is a dough. And again, it's a little bit messy. So I'm just kind of forming it into a ball here and then going back in and adding a little bit more of the almond meal. And I forgot to mention the portions of almonds and dates that I'm using here. But for this, I'm making a really, really small amount. I used 2/3 cups of almonds and a 1/2 cup of date with just about a tablespoon of water. You can double or triple the recipe if you want to make like a big pie or a big tart. So here, again, very small dough ball. But if you wanted to make a bigger one, you could basically take your pie pan and just start to spread it out into a really thin layer, which obviously this is not going to cover this pie pan, so I'm going to show you how to make tarts. So we'll take our ball, and we're going to take a piece of wax paper, take the dough, and roll it into a golf ball size amount. Or a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands to get some of this dough off. Next, we're going to take a second sheet of wax paper and just put it right on top and go ahead and flatten your golf balls out. So you can make them as thick or as thin as you'd like. And then we're just going to take these and transfer them into the fridge. Okay, I'll just pretend like I'm putting them in there. And once you've got the date mixture into the fridge, let them sit for about an hour so that they can harden, and then you can fill them with anything you want. So a great, really easy one is just to fill them with fresh fruit. Blueberries especially goes really, really nicely with the almonds and dates. Something that I really like right now, since it's that holiday season, is to make a pumpkin pie filling and just fill the tart with pumpkin pie. And you can put the little individual pies in the oven, bake them on 350 until your pumpkin mixture is set. So I hope that this has given you a little insight into using, a creative pie crust.